Taz, I want to personally welcome you to this series without end. We're going to be covering Helter, Skelter, the most famous true crime book of all times by Vincent Bugliosi and his wonderful ghostwriter, Gentry. There's so much to cover here. We're just going to keep it rocking. My great co-host, Casey Fields, and I. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. TWILIGHTers! I am so grateful for our dear, dear friend, producer Alex, who you have yet to see. We're going to bring him out for some movie reviews soon enough. He's a handsome boy. We had to keep him under wraps. Wife, very jealous. Oh, she will beat some ass. She's a little Filipino mom, would tear your head off. I wouldn't mess with her. She's an Olympic lifter of record proportions, literally holds records for Olympic lifting.
Shout out Excel Gym.
Dude, exhale. So what was going on there is I have to be careful with Alex because she acts real cool, but too close to Alex, man. But the point being, bitches, we're on set. So proud to be here with you in your beautiful new haircut.
Yeah, I had to grow it out a little bit, man. I first couple episodes, Chrome Dome.
Wow, the thing was, ladies,
little too much shine off the top of the head, man.
Ladies. Okay, these are some committed gentlemen. Okay, Alex, please don't creep on Alex on the internet. He's not available. Yourself, I know you were trying not to break any hearts. You had a couple online sweethearts that had been. He gets pursued on the internet.
Some people can rock it. I've never been the type that could do the bald look, but I'm pretty good with the 5 head.
Well, I think you. Oh man, I'm working on that. Like it's 5.5 going. But yeah, you had a bunch of crushed hearts on the internet, so I think you were punishing your good looks because, man, do I ever get the fan mail on the big case? I don't tell him no. So keep writing me.
Thank you.
No, he does. He gets more fan mail than I'll ever think about getting. And I want to thank you all, as always, for stepping over the obvious victims' family suffering, the suffering of the victims, and just the appalling nature of this entire Manson saga that we are digging into. I know we say we're going to get into other things, but
having too much fun.
So much meat on the Manson bone. So much to dispel. So many things to go back in time to read, reread, and then question with fresh eyes. Okay, like this was a gift. Garbage People. It was an earlier book. You know, when did that one come up?
Yeah, you're right. I think like 70, 71.
Okay. Very early piece.
I think it had a different name though.
Right. So Deb Silva will chime in on that soon. But that's what I'm saying is we use reference materials that are classics. We ask somebody like Lynn Fromey or the great Deb Silva to substantiate. We'll pull up court documents. We'll pull up different things because we can't triangulate it. We'd rather strangulate it. Okay. We don't want to have any kind of misinformation coming out here. And we love the yellow brick road, as we always say. Our Brian Davises are different people who came ahead of us, who brought us some solid feelings, some good interviews.
Shout out.
A lot of great information across the board. Somebody I really want to meet. You're out there, I guess. I didn't know he was still alive. I read his transmissions, and for you to enlighten me more about Colonel
Scott. Yeah,
man, I was just
legend.
Dude, I'm so just right now, hair sticking up. I feel super humbled. Colonel, if you're out there, I would love to speak to you. I won't blow your cover, but just the information there, like when I speak with Deb Silva, I get so elevated. You know, I really wish my personality had been in a little bit more check. I'd been in less of a manic place when I spoke to Bo on the phone.
Oh yeah, Bo Bushnell.
No.
Oh,
Bo
I'm
Bushnell is
sorry.
wonderful.
Gotcha.
He's a outlaw archive. You can't see the sticker, but Bo Bushnell actually has sticker acreage on my favorite toolbox. That's saying something. But no,
Bo Emerson. I'm
yes,
sorry.
our
Yeah.
man, he is such a great researcher. We're of course talking about the wonderful CieloDrive.com. And let me tell you, my favorite feature, which was the most generous, helped me acquire my collection, helped me consider some things, keep my heart open, was the audio archives. Cielo Drive. Those things, what a
Love
gift.
them.
Because you've been researching Kitty Lutzinger in relation to the prosecution of Charles Manson, Patricia Krenwinkel, Susan Atkins, and Leslie Van Houten. So these people that were in the forefront of this case all were brought forward by these authors and these people. And to go back again with, like I said, with fresh eyes, it's just, what are you coming up with going back with your research? Because we've been talking back channels about this wonderful gift you gave me. Thank you.
Yeah, I bounce around quite a bit every day. I'm spending 6 to 8 hours, I would say, on this case. And so this last week, I read the Killing of Sharon Tate by Lawrence Schiller, which was a copy, basically, of the transcripts that Susan Atkins filmed with her attorneys or recorded with her
them.
attorneys.
Oh my God, that's I had to blow my own hair back, because you think about what they did to that little girl, bro. This little kid is clearly fajujued. Her mouth is a disgusting hole wrapped by just like, she has a beard. She looks like a bag of greasy hammered assholes. And then she's got open sores on her feet from STD based infections. She's got the clap. So
foot to mouth disease,
dude,
or foot to ass to mouth.
Oh my God. I didn't know which was going to make me more sick. Okay. I'm sorry. But you have these people who we can try to justify anything or explain anything away about what kind of people they were to nullify their horrible suffering and the way they left this plane of existence, right? But I don't know which made me more goddamn sick. The idea of scumbag fucking Susan Atkins on the goddamn D team. Because I'm trying to go light on that theory. Charles Manson sending out the fucking D team.
Yeah, I've definitely pushed that a lot more. You've been a little bit more graceful to these people.
But you know what? I'm really having a hard time when I hear Susan Atkins talk about her infections on her feet were so raw and inflamed, she could not wear any type of shoe. Not a fucking moccasin, not a wool hiking sock. She could put nothing on her bare feet. Charles Manson, fuck all this, dude. Fuck all this. Was he in charge? Motherfucking right he was. They didn't do a god. They're not going to get a fucking car and go do this shit without Charles saying, hey guys, here's how this is going to go down. Maybe it wasn't his plan, but the guy is going to fucking sign off on it or it's not fucking happening. He sends him up there. She's so fucking injured. She can't wear shoes. You're going to send her to commit murder with a pocket knife and no fucking shoes because she has infected, ripped up, bloody feet.
And speaking of feet, there it is right there. Bloody Susan Atkins footprint is in the CLO entryway.
And you just think about it. You've got a commingling of the victim's blood and the perpetrator's blood. They're fucking blood sisters. She's made herself a blood sister of her victim. Like, there's so many levels to this that just like drive me nuts in the semantics department. And then to go back, grab the towel that she tied Frykowski up with so terribly.
Dab it in some blood.
In Sharon Tate's fucking blood. Now, we always think there's more blood at the initial scene than the second scene, or that there's a similar scale. And it was just that one word that got left behind on Skelter Drive, correct?
Yep, on the Dutch door.
Fuck. I just think about Susan Atkins. Again.
But what a statement, huh? Giant letters across that door.
And okay, again, I'm not worthy in this story because I was born shortly before it happened. I'm 19 years minus 1 day younger than Red, Lynn Fromey, okay? And so what she has told me, it just bears so much of this out in a way that's very human. And I think about Susan, and I think about Charles, and I think about all the responsibilities that were coming down on him. He had all these great intentions, all these different things. People don't think about him as a human being with anxiety. Like I say, I always bring up these active psychotic states that I think any of us are capable of being in to see us through. I think that's why we see so many internet crash outs right now.
Absolutely.
People freaking out in a Walmart parking lot.
Yep. They don't get that dopamine hit and they start losing it.
Because our society's fucking going through it right now. And I think we may have been in a really heavy duty phase like that back then. So you've got this woman who will jump in the fucking car as many times as she's run away, as many times as she's been an asshole.
Going back to when her little crime in Oregon, right? Knocking up gas stations, stealing cars. This is way before she met Charles Manson.
Absolutely. And then stealing from Manson, the hash, all these scams, bringing back hostile people to the ranch for Charlie to sort out.
Yep.
Because she's out catting around doing this stuff. She was a very nuanced,
wild,
and I think interesting character. I've got a lot more heart for her now. Because Lynn, again, I can't carry her fucking piss bucket, but she has told me some very humanizing things about Susan Atkins that I just have to consider. Some of these things are making me a better person because of my compassion level. So for the Manson family to be teaching me to be a more compassionate, better person is kind of a wild statement for some. But when you read her account in this book, and then you put it up against Danny DiCarlo, speaking about how wild she was, all the trouble she would get, not herself, but everyone around her in, and that she would just bail, and what a fucking liability she was. I got to say that D-team theory, I know it does upset Lynn. She doesn't want to hear Charlie as a bad guy because to her, Charlie was all love. But I have to say, you can have those feelings, and that can be mutually true. It's not a mutually exclusive thing. You can be the most wonderful guy ever, see these misguided kids on a murder mission, clarify the mission, give them a fucking plan, send them out to kill people, and still feel in your prison mentality you didn't do anything, and convince other people of the same logic, even though murders will occur. There's
definitely thought involved. So Charlie shows back up with Stephanie Schramm after being in San Diego. He rolls onto Spawn Ranch that morning or whatever. Girls come running up saying Bobby's in jail. Bobby was arrested. So he comes home. He's tired, right? He's got all this stuff on his mind. Now he's got other things he's got to take care of.
Yeah, came down from Big Sur where he got allegedly
rejected from the Big Sur Folk Festival. They really wanted to play in.
Man, can you imagine what
Bobby Buslay's daughters being born up in San Francisco? I mean, Charlie's dealing with some heavy stuff. Okay. Then later on in the day, you have Sandra and Mary getting arrested in the Sears, thing. So it's like he's got his people
So
that are
then you have the
getting arrested.
baby, a baby to contend with.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
there's no doubt that he selected people to go that night. Now I do believe that he said just do what text tells you to do.
Mhm.
So I think that Charlie, this is just my opinion, and
Okay.
I don't go into my theory much in the book. But they needed money. Charlie told Tex, you come back with that $600 or $800. I don't care if you have to hit every single house down the block.
Right.
And Tex chose a place. Maybe Charlie chose it. I don't know. But they chose a place where they
Usually.
thought they could get money.
They knew the outline of the house, and that's covered in here too, where Susan talks about how when they came up, and it's contrasted by what Linda said as well, where they ran down the outline of the house.
On the way, yep.
Tex was doing a lot of talking, giving a lot of direction, instructing the girls how to get their act together, what was going to be expected of them, how he wanted them to behave. And
she says that they brought the bolt cutters and the rope.
Absolutely.
Tex later on, to this day, says he doesn't know if there was a rope there, conveniently forgetting
43 feet and 8 inches of triple strand nylon based rope. And it fucking was there because Danny DiCarlo fucking knows he bought it. And there's the receipts.
Yep. Jack Frost surplus store, Santa Monica.
Sorry, I'm recovering from a atmospheric change, man. It's just got this woo right there. Sorry about that.
I'll take some Deschutes.
Man, this is a very fine, non-alcoholic beverage I like a lot. It's, technically an IPA beer, but zero alcohol.
This is a Northern California local.
Yeah, Deschutes Brewery. Yeah, exactly. Really nice folks. Thanks for the. Deschutes wants to send any more of these fine hoppy beverages. I sure wouldn't mind. I've been spending my $12 a 6-pack on these gratefully, as I suggest you do. You enjoy a good beer and don't need a goddamn headache or to wake up in jail tomorrow. Fucking Deschutes, bro.
For the daytime drinkers.
I'm just saying I'm an everyday drinker, son. But we do appreciate, again, say what you want about Helter Skelter. God dang, it's chock full of information, of bedrock landmark statements, reliable or not, depending on your opinion. But this one, I found there was a particularly interesting passage, which I'll pass off to you. Vaguely in there. I just was cracking the book open with Casey last night. I'll do it like my favorite book of all times, Reflection by Lynn Fromey. And you can just read anywhere out of this thing.
Yep. Sadie Mae Glutz. Sadie was the kind of girl who wanted to be something that she wasn't.
That's what everyone has said. She's a form of an actress.
Charlie says, Sadie, you got to be yourself. And he seemed good at that. I just got done reading Patricia Krenwinkel's, story arc, right? And when Charlie met her down in Manhattan Beach with Red and with Mary, and same kind of deal. Here's a girl that has a lot of self-confidence issues, a lot of, I would almost take it as far as saying hatred of her
self-hatred.
Look, and
for sure.
And all of a sudden, this guy, good-looking guy, comes about and tells her she's beautiful. Same with Susan Atkins, right? He stuck her in front of the mirror, had her stripped down naked, say, "Look at your body." She wanted to look away and got all embarrassed. And he told her, "No, you're beautiful just as you are."
I love him. Yeah, I love him saying it too.
And for most, a lot of people would think, well, that's just a con man trying to get some, right? But no, I saw enough times where he said that to everybody. Like he was trying to build people up, even people that he wasn't trying to have sex with.
Well, sure. I was getting my teeth cleaned yesterday, and Lillian my nurse there at Dr. Kurtz's office in Berkeley. She is wonderful. She is Cambodian, and we were talking about her family, and I just looked at her and I said, I really hope you're being treated properly, because I don't think you have any concept of your extreme value and that you are so fine. And I don't mean just how beautiful you are. I mean, you are like porcelain. You're not pottery. You're not rough shot tile. You are the finest porcelain because of the way you were fired. Your father went through all this craziness. Your mother went a more stable route. You got a stepdad. And I know you have a little sister who must be insane. And she talked about her little sister who's a full gangster. So we had this communication. And let's just say, I came off as a dirty old man right there, like the lascivious cult leader, David Rogerson, with his shit box podcast that he dragged other vain people into. The guy started getting a haircut few episodes in. Look what Rogerson does, right? I didn't mean anything by it. I meant it. I hope you jump further in your development, Lillian, and understand your worth, because you're fucking incredible. Understand that. And then, dude, she's gone through this whole thing, and she lives with her dad. It was all this and that. And she's just wonderful.
This is a
walking through life.
This is a characteristic of our producer here, Alex, that I really appreciate. That very positive. Always try. It doesn't take a whole lot to make somebody's day. Right. That's very, very cool.
Dude, I love that. You could just touch people constantly. And so this was part of it. In and amongst, he would send these fucking 3 women that he'd elevated and helped. Even Linda, who he didn't really care for, but he'd boosted her a bit, made her feel a little more confident. And then it's like, he's looking at the roster, and it's like, there's the fucking pawns. Adios, Stanislaus. You make it back. Well, I guess I'll have to fucking deal with that. But I don't think he wanted to see any of those cocksuckers ever again. I know I wouldn't in a group situation. And I've lived in these communal things over the years, different generations, slightly different values, very similar outcomes.
So this CLOD team thing that I often refer to, I haven't fully thought it out or developed it, because I have no B or C team,
I do.
But basically, in my opinion, I have the people that I think that are the most loyal to Charlie. Lynette, Mary, we'll go with even Bobby. Bobby was down for the cause.
He was an anchor, and he loved him, and the loss of Bobby blew everything up, man.
I think Bruce would have done anything for him. I think TJ would have done anything for him, except for
that's true. He triggered that whole situation where it's unfortunate. If you don't know the story of TJ, he wound up having a really, really bad, violent fight with his then wife, Anson.
Lori Martisich.
Yeah, Ansem 13, as she was known. They had a huge fight, and he basically said, fuck you, I'm going to kill myself, blah, blah, blah. There's a very famous, deadly kink in the road. Very straight road. There's one little
395?
Kink. Well, no. Well, I think technically it's 178. And it's what's going on is it is a very fast 2-lane stretch of highway. There's one curve, throwing a curve.
No center divide.
Nope, just 2 stripes. He crossed into the center line to kill himself, hits his big fucking truck, kills everybody. So he was in his F-150, just a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Killed people and
shitty way to go out.
Right, but I don't think he was a killer, even though he did wind up killing in the end. And I think karmically, that's a very unfortunate.
Well, he's a killer because he was a killer in Vietnam, but not, you're right, like a murderer per se. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I respected that he had his limits and that he couldn't cross that line in terms of shooting Crow because that would have been a whole different outlook on him.
Cappy's another one. She wanted to go.
She volunteered, and I used to hear it said in Ridgecrest, Elf, the person that I've been acquainted with over the years, with many gaps in between, but I just saw him as recently as a year ago in Ridgecrest.
David Barton,
Cappy's son, similar age to mine. Well, he, good Lord, you'd just see him out and about, but you'd hear these stories about Charles Manson's either son or nephew. You'd hear about all these things that had happened out in the desert, and it was these mismatchings of the stories. So when you had TJ out there and you had Cappy, and then there's various generations of their children, it really muddied the waters where I was from in Ridgecrest in terms of all the folklore that gets spread around. And I've got a couple of interviews of people who are truthful and who actually have memories and did meet Manson family members in Ridgecrest at the time of my youth. And then I've got other ones that will also share that are obviously red herrings because it's just people who have crazy disinformation that they're just parroting for their entire lives. But I think the D-team thing is very real.
Even like Linda, and obviously I'm glad she didn't participate, but she was only willing to take it so far as the driver, right? She couldn't stand going in there and getting her hands dirty.
I don't know, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I think she was a lot more involved. I think she was holding Sharon Tate down. I think she did a bunch of shit. I'm not sure why that didn't come out more. The prosecution, of course, buried it. And then there was, okay. All right, Brian Davis, you want me to say this? And I'm going to say it, okay? Are you ready?
I don't even know what he's going to say.
No defense. No defense. Tana, you're out there. I don't know you from Eve, sweetie. Tana, would you talk to us about that? No defense. I just can't get over the fact there's so much meat on the bone to mount a defense just with that alone. That alone, man. Linda Kasabian was a rotten piece of work, a vile, evil piece of trash.
So I was just reading something about Linda. So we know that she bounced from the ranch. She took Dave Hannum's Volvo. She went
Tanya, her child.
Yep. Drove to New Mexico, hid out for months, right, with Bob Kasabian and good old Blackbeard Charlie Melton.
Who keeps coming up?
Yeah, northern.
Why didn't his car get pulled?
The Teos community of northern New Mexico. But then right after Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving of 69, she goes down to see her dad in Miami.
Right.
Her dad's a bartender or working at some bar down there, has an apartment above the bar.
Right.
And her dad is saying, man, the whole time my daughter was here, she's stealing my stuff and using it to buy drugs.
Yeah.
And then so he buys a plane ticket, sends her back home to New Hampshire to go be with her mom.
Mama, I'm going to send you home to your mama.
And then shortly thereafter, the case broke and she was arrested and brought back to LA.
And the first person to speak ill of her was her father and talked about what a pile she was. He knew she was somehow wrapped up in something.
And we're not talking a 16-year-old taking $20 out of their mom and dad's wallet or purse. We're talking about a woman that by this point is in her early 20s. She's had a child. She's pregnant with another, and she's ripping off her parents
for large sums of money. We're talking about a bar. You don't fuck around in places like that. It's a good way to get planted. But she's stolen money from, it wasn't Melton, but it was the other guy.
Her husband's
buddy.
Yeah. That's another detail that has been glassed over or wrapped up in a bow. Bugliosi makes it seem like Bob Kasabian and Charlie Melton they're just going on a boating vacation all over the world.
Just got a little bit of money, no big deal.
What was it really?
Dude, it was $5,000.
I know, but what were they really doing?
Oh,
They were
dude,
going to South America and drug
absolutely.
trafficking,
No
bro.
shit.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Like, let's not sugarcoat this thing.
No, they were hardened international criminals to be.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, bro? But what I'm saying is, why I kept, you were asking me that, and I was like, what? Huh? Dude, $5,000 in today's money is an incredible sum. Let me tell you something. It was a lot harder to earn money in the illicit drug trade back then than it is now. You kiddies got it nice and easy. We can just go over here and grab some legal weed. Who gives a shit? I'll blow it on the internet.
Talking about
Nothing will happen.
What, $1 hit of LSD?
Dude,
a dollar tab.
This shit would have laid you out for 2 days.
Dude, you got to sell a lot of tabs of LSD to make $5,000.
Dude, great Lord Almighty. Weed is like a lid of weed is nothing.
Yeah.
$10 for an ounce of weed. Like, great. Oh. So, in getting back to the story at the book where we're at, it was so disgusting to read the corroborations that were more personal. I'm becoming to believe more truthful in the second time through this book because I've read it in the other iteration. But Garbage People, I do recommend. A lot of interesting reading. You can triangulate a lot in there. But Susan Atkins' feet, when she talks about chasing Wojtek Frykowski, stabbing him, hitting bone with knives, and her feet splitting open from the infected sores that she had on her tootsies.
Disgusting.
And could you just imagine how that would feel? Your feet, your feet tore open and started bleeding. You're chasing these people around, stabby, stabby, stabby. You've been on meth for 2-3 days with apparently somebody who needed some help because they go into, I think, a very telling and revealing detail, which is Tex Watson's impotence. That explains a lot. I could never figure him. You know, he was almost like a Brooks Poston who took the intellect out of it. Because Poston was such a goddamn nerd in relation to the family. Well, I want to be here, but I'm going to, like a dog, piss on everything and then try to figure out what? Well, why am I here? What am I doing?
You thought he was number 2, man. Way down the list.
What the fuck? They had you out shoveling shit. Lynn told me they shipped him off to the Yellow Submarine to get the fuck rid of him, but he wouldn't leave the ranch. So that's why they put him to work in the fucking stables and made him live in the shit in the stables while he cleaned the stables. Shit stable boy. It's like that's the lowest shit always. Stable boy. That's up there with the History of the World movie, right? Piss boy. So I say I'm not worthy of carrying Lynette Fromey's piss bucket. You know what I mean? It's like ultimate service. You're the piss boy. And that was him. And then you take away the intellect, and he doesn't want to be in group sex. He doesn't want to do these things. He's fucking just wants to be around Charlie and sees the dynamicism that Charlie's working with. Very dynamic fellow, right? He wants to be that. He wants that. Why are the chicks all with him? And the only time he can get any pussy is when Charlie directs a girl to him.
Yep. Like Diane Lake right off the start. And it's funny because it's even in Paul's own words in his book, right? He says that he looked at Charlie and was shocked at somebody that short could command the room, could be a short king, you know? And he thought, well, I'm Charlie and I are about the same height.
Fucking great.
I can be that guy.
He had nice teeth. He was funny. And you know, when you're young and delusional, you want to take in Charlie's rap, but then you think you got your own rap, and then you can learn everything. Like he's going to be a little TV preacher off the top.
Yep. He'll get those Charlie leftovers.
Well, think about how much meat there was on the bone. I keep saying that on this episode, but it's like there was plenty of sustenance for somebody like a Paul, right? A recording contract Bro, it can't be understated. Dude, that's Brian Wilson. He's the cool beach boy. He's got the beard. He's good looking. Look, he's got a body. He actually surfs. He comes down here and gets high with us. And the thing is, y'all, I don't know how you feel about the Beach Boys. Bitch, I love them.
I do too.
I fucking love the Beach
It's my
Boys.
dad's favorite band.
Dude, from the beginning, even into the Brian Wilson stuff, like the whole like never learn not to love, like when they ruined Charlie's song. How many double negatives could be in one fucking lyric?
You see who the drummer of the Beach Boys is now? John Stamos. Uncle Jesse.
Really?
Yep. He's traveling with him now.
That's a trip. Was that the show where I only remember one line from like that kind of
There's only 2 original members in there. Mike Love, which is Dennis and Brian's cousin.
Yeah. He looks like he got scalped in the 70s.
And there's I don't know if it's Keith Jardine or there's another one that's also still there.
I think it's Jardine, and I think that's the only family in person who Lynn said was decent to them when they went to Havasu and met up like we talked about. But Lynn said his family was kind and that they were decent people. And she understood what everyone else was saying and saw. But there's a difference in that. And so,
two of the girls used the last name Jardine as an alias.
Yeah.
Sandy was one of them.
I would read that and trip off it. But then, was that the show where Stamos said, "Yo, Angela," all the time? Was that him?
Full House. The one in San Francisco.
I don't know. So I just remember him having like bad hair. You turn around, "Yo, Angela." That's all I remember. He'd be turning channels. It was like an ABC show or something. That's funny. Isn't that the guy who he owns Cielo Drive now, right?
No, you're right. You're right. Exactly. The producer. Yep.
Dude, what a weird, ugly piece of shit to build there. Fuck that house. I hope he chokes on it. What a dick move. There's a water slide. Room for 50 cars in the auto court. Like, they can't sell it for the real estate value now.
I know.
They should have plowed.
Last I saw, 22 million is what they were asking.
Dude, down from like 70 something.
Yeah.
But last I heard was 55 million.
Wow.
Fuck. Dude, they should have turned that shit into a park. LA should have bought that off of Antebelly to get him the fuck out of there, plowed all that shit down. I mean, I'm sorry. I'd love to see the house and all that too, but it was inappropriate in that neighborhood. They should have flattened the whole fucking thing and made a memorial and left it the fuck alone. And it could have been like a vegetable garden for the neighborhood. You got pass keys. You can go in and garden or something. Like, they needed to do something like that. That was really fucking disrespectful.
And there were a couple other incidents that happened up there, not just the murders.
Right.
Prior to Sharon Tate and Roman moving in, there was Lady Baroness Rothschild that lived there. True. And she allegedly got essayed by her stepbrother on that property.
That's correct.
And then after the Cielo murders, Elizabeth Hussey moves in, and her former fiance, Christopher Jones, allegedly essayed her on that property as well.
And wasn't she playing a role in the film? Like there was something.
I can't remember. I know that Rudy Altobelli was her manager, along with Christopher Jones and Sharon Tate. And Sharon had had a previous relationship with Christopher Jones, which makes that whole essay a lot more creepier.
Right.
That someone that he previously was having carnal knowledge with was killed in this house, and now he's essaying somebody else in this house. It's kind of
a lot of evil things happen, just like the whole Billy thing with the sexual assault. Oh, SA.
Yeah,
that happened. Where do they see?
I'm trying to keep it YouTube friendly here.
I get you, but we're gonna have Skelter on here. If you guys haven't checked out Prison POV, trip off this homeboy. We're gonna have the host of that show, Skelter, on here, and he'll say the essays. So I don't want to get it all crossed up, but the essays that have happened throughout the years. Lillian Gish had lived there, right? Cary Grant had lived there.
The alleged. I don't know if you guys saw the shirt today. The alleged sex tapes that were filmed up there.
And then there was the whole thing of those homoerotic assaults that happened. That Super Frykowski and those guys allegedly
Yep.
whipped and anally violated
Yep.
men
Yep.
in that living room shortly before the crimes. And that was one of the potential motives that was investigated.
Absolutely.
Paul Tate, again, all up in that bitch. You think about Paul Tate discovering Wojtek Frykowski's nasty actions in the living room of his daughter's rented place where his grandson Paul's nursery resided. Like,
yep. That's even been a point of contention between some researchers as well. Frykowski was laying there on the grass and his pajama mod pants were pulled down a little bit. And so some have speculated, was Frykowski essayed before he was killed? I think George Stimson, in his opinion, said no. I tend to agree. I think that his pants might have gotten pulled down as he was crawling on the grass.
Dude, there's a lot of reasons for a lot of shit to happen to that body.
Yeah.
You think about the brutality of it. Again, I've never really checked out the autopsy photos. I'm not very a gore hound kind of dude, but I'm flipping through it. Bro, the two things that are nuttiest in here, Wojtek's photos and Hungry Knife, who we'll talk about later. Love you, children.
Real quick, before we go, I want to give another opportunity for you Twilighters to get your hands on this nice Spawn Ranch shirt.
Please do it.
All it's going to take is for whoever we're going to check it out, and we're going to see who has the most recommendations on YouTube, who has floated the most subscribers our way in the next couple weeks. So tell your friends, let them know to subscribe and write in the comments. I found Twilight Garage because of blank.
Bippity bappity boop.
And
hey,
we'll get this in the mail to you.
Again, we're just doing this for love. We want to start a gifting system here because I think there's a lot of really shady stuff that can go down. A lot of people's trusts have been violated on these raffles. A lot of things not being fulfilled. A lot of insincerity on the surface. And we want to take care of that because this is all love. Ultra Lee.
Shout out.
When you write to me and ask me actual questions, I just can't thank you enough. I want to praise you for spending your time in life with us here.
She's a sweet friend
on Twilight. And so, hey, man, the gratitude and humbleness y'all are putting on our hearts make our days better each and every day. So thank you for letting us share our lives collectively here on Twilight.